Are you getting frustrated with what to feed a teenager who's always hungry? Everybody knows that teenagers have a huge appetite. It seems like you need to feed them constantly to satisfy their hunger. It's even more difficult where teenagers who struggle with their weight truly want to make changes, like cut down on junk food or stop overeating, and they can't. There's frustration, isolation, stress, and that's why I decided to create a recipe collection of 30 easy and healthy meals for teenagers. They're all high in protein to satisfy your teenager's hunger, and they can all be ready in less than 30 minutes. If you want to grab a free copy, go to lifestyleforteens.com/recipes.
This is the Lifestyle and Weight Loss for Teens podcast. If you're a mom and want to help your child who is struggling to lose weight, you are in the right place. If you are looking for healthy lifestyle tips, Dr. Gourgari is here to help you understand the science around safe weight loss in teens and children. Because what works for adult weight loss is not always the best for children. This podcast is for educational purposes only. Dr. Gourgari does not provide medical, psychological, or nutrition therapy advice. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat any health problems without consulting your own medical practitioner. And now, your host, Dr. Jenny Gourgari.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Lifestyle and Weight Loss for Teens podcast. This is Dr. Jenny Gourgari, and on today's episode, I'm going to talk about how to support your teen when they're looking for food to satisfy their feelings. Let me tell you, what would you think if nighttime cravings have nothing to do with real hunger, but they had to do with your efforts to try to regulate uncomfortable feelings? Have you ever had that feeling of feeling sad and turning to food to feel better? From time to time, we all have feelings like that. And it's okay if it happens from time to time, but if it is a daily thing, then that can lead to emotional eating all the time, and that can lead to an unhealthy weight. So my goal for this episode today is to break down what are some of the reasons of emotional eating in teenagers and what are some of the healthier ways that parents can deal with it and teenagers can approach that in a better way. So let me start by saying that puberty is a period that has a lot of emotional up and downs, and that has to do with a lot of hormones during puberty that go up and down. So we know that cortisol is one hormone that is often elevated in teenagers when they're stressed with homework, stressed with their routine, and high cortisol levels can lead to overeating because it's a way to decrease the stress, and they can also at the same time have more belly fat because of that. Also, teenagers oftentimes stay up and late until the night because they have homework to do, or they stayed up looking to their iPads or talking to their friends. And instead of sleeping, they have high levels of cortisol when the levels should normally be low when they're sleeping. That abnormal cortisol level in teenagers can lead to overeating because their hormone is elevated. Another hormone that is elevated in teenagers is estrogen in girls and testosterone in boys. Testosterone, we know that is associated with impulsive behavior, and often teenager boys can go and eat without thinking because they are impulsive. This can be more exacerbated in kids that have ADHD and they're not managed very well with medications, or with teens that have ADHD, they are on medications that suppress their appetite during the day. And then when the medication effect wears off during the day and at night, they're hungry because they haven't eaten anything. On the other hand, estrogen in girls that is very high during puberty is also associated with moodiness and sadness. And those feelings of moodiness and sadness due to high estrogen often make a lot of teenage girls turn to food. They want to manage this sadness and this emotional discomfort. Another hormone that our body produces is called leptin, is coming from the Greek word leptos, which means thin, and that is what gives our bodies the signal that we are full and we are satisfied with what we ate, and we stop eating. However, in puberty, because of the puberty hormones, there is this phenomenon that is called leptin resistance. And what that means is that even though the teenagers have high leptin levels, they don't act, their body doesn't listen to those leptin hormones. So you can go and listen to episode I have made about leptin in teenagers and how that can affect the body weight and their unhealthy behaviors. I believe it is episode 55, how puberty hormones affect weight gain in teenagers. And there is another episode about leptin, that is episode 48. So you can go and look for those episodes. Now, another reason why teenagers turn to emotional eating is because oftentimes they model the behavior of their parents or the behavior of their friends. So if you're a parent that turns to food when you're stressed at work, when you're stressed with your daily routine, the teenager kind of feels this is a normal reaction, especially if you talk also about it and say, oh, I feel stressed, let me grab this cake to feel better, or actually going and grabbing a cake. Modeling the behavior of the parents is another reason why the teenagers can turn to emotional eating during puberty. Now, the question is, how can we help teenagers that have emotional eating overcome that? And how can we help teenagers get into a better way so that they don't turn to food when they feel stressed and anxious? One of the things that can help teenagers is to actually help them express their feelings in a healthier way. So opening the channels of communication with your teenager and asking them about what they're feeling, what upset them, and let them express, let them pour out all those emotions and have a discussion and encourage them to talk about them with you, with their friends, with somebody that they trust. So when you communicate your emotions, then you have less the need to turn into food to feel better in an effort to hide those emotions. Another thing that can help with emotional eating is actually labeling the emotion and writing it down in a journal. Sometimes the teenagers may want to keep their life private. They might not want to share with you, and that is okay. But instead of bottling up all those emotions, you can encourage them to express them through other alternative ways, like writing in a journal. They can listen to the music, that is, express them. They can also paint or do other creative activities that can help them channel emotions. If it is stress related, particularly, another technique that can help with emotional eating is deep breathing. So you can take one deep breath in, hold it for 3 seconds, and then have a prolonged expiration. So you can repeat that and take 10 deep breaths that can actually pause the cycle of stressful eating. Another thing that can help the teenagers and actually the whole family is to make the environment better so that the teenagers don't have access to unhealthy options at the time when they are in this crisis of emotional eating. So, for example, if they go into the pantry and the pantry is full of chips and cake and chocolate and all those things, it's going to make it more difficult for them to resist those options. So having healthier alternatives where the teenagers can reach if they want something, like they can have sparkling water, they can have an orange, an apple, so they can still satisfy this with meal, but it's like a healthier snack instead of turning into an unhealthier snack. Another thing that can help teenagers that turn to food because of emotional eating is to realize what is the trigger that leads them to the emotional eating. So, for example, if they have noticed that every Thursday afternoon they have to take exam, or they have a math class, or they are competitive athletes, or there's something going on that they don't like to do, and that's when they're more likely to go into unhealthy eating, then they can anticipate that this event is going to happen, and then they can take proactive action. And you can help them organize that and take this proactive action during those times. So, to summarize, helpful tips that teenagers can do to avoid emotional eating is to try to find healthier coping skills to deal with those unhealthy emotions. They can try deep breathing, journaling, listening to music, doing other things to calm themselves down. Second thing is they can have healthier snack alternatives instead of unhealthy snack if they absolutely need to have something. Number three is that parents can model healthy behavior on how they themselves as parents handle the emotions, so that the teenager sees that actually it's possible when you're obsessed or when you're stressed, you can do some of these calming techniques. And finally, identifying what are the triggers to emotional eating so that they can anticipate and be proactive about it in the future. If you wanted to learn more better ways to communicate healthy habits with your teenagers, you can go to lifestyleforteens.com/download resource I made on 15 ways to talk to your teenager and 75 real life examples and real life phrases that you can select. You can use a couple of them and try to implement and see if that helps build up those communication channels between parents and teenagers. I hope this was helpful. If you're seeing this on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you next week. Take care. Bye.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, I invite you to come check out the LIFT program. It's Dr. Gourgari's 12-week coaching program for teens and their moms, where we take all this information, we apply it to your daily life, and we work together so your teenager learns how to create a healthy lifestyle so they can feel happier, more confident, less stressed, and love their body again. Visit the website at lifestyleforteens.com and click on the Work With Me and free resources to learn more about this program and get free help to start this journey right away. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Lifestyle and Weight Loss for Teens.